Hey, YouTube, going to respond quickly to something that I stated earlier in regards to posing the question, um, is there anything in a name? Like if you're a Christian, is there anything in a name? If you call yourself a Lutheran, Seventh-day Adventist, or Mormon, or Methodist, or Southern Baptist, you know, is there anything in a name? Does God care? Now, this is what you have to consider. In in rules of logic, there's a logical precept that states this: either there's only one way to do something, or there's countless ways to do it. And if you put that postulate to the test, you'll find out it to be true in all matters that I know of. Now, my background's in mathematics, but try to put that to the test in regards to anything, because you could, in our scenario, you could always add one or subtract one or something else, and you can always change something just by doing something simple like that. So it's an easy theorem to prove, and I believe it to be true. So if you accept that, then let's apply it to Christianity. And what people are saying without knowing that they're saying this is this: a Methodist, a Lutheran, I'm a member of the Church of Christ, Baptist, Catholic, all of us worship on the first day of the week, and we call ourselves Christians. Now, there are some people who worship on Saturday and call themselves Christians as well. And now, to believe, okay, to accept that all of us claim Christianity as our faith, there's a presupposition that suggests that God doesn't care how and when we worship. Now, if you read the Bible even in a cursory manner, you will discover God cares about everything as it relates to worship. From the patriarchal period to the Mosaic dispensation to the Christian dispensation, God cares. God laid out careful plans during the patriarchal period dispensation, the Mosaic dispensation, and the Christian dispensation of how he wants to be worshipped. So we know that that is a fallacy. So then what must we conclude? The only thing you can conclude, if you use that rule of logic that we started with, is that there is only one body of believers, or Christians, that are worshiping God, and we call in spirit and in truth. Now, what in spirit and truth means is this. It's defined in John chapter 17. It says, sanctify them in thy truth. Thy word is truth. So sanctification just means separation. Thy word is truth. So that's what it means to worship God in spirit and in truth. Okay, in truth is relative to the Bible, and in spirit we worship Him as spiritual beings. So we worship Him. We worship Him physically, but we worship Him according to how He has told us to worship Him. Okay, so if that is true, if you accept that, then you have to accept that everyone except one body of believers is right. Or I guess you can accept this, that nobody is right. But one thing you cannot accept is that everybody is right. And the common theme is this, is if all of those religions believe the basic principle, because I got many friends of any different denominations, and they all call themselves Christians. Now, without knowing it, this is what they're accepting. They have to believe that no matter how you worship God, as long as you believe the central theme, and this is the theme, if you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God, you believe He died on the cross, and you believe that He rose on the third day, if you just believe that, all the rest of the stuff that you do doesn't matter. God doesn't care. So whether you have instrumental music on the Lord's Day, whether you have praise dances on the Lord's Day, whether you tithe instead of giving. There are some churches that give and tithe. There are people who have women ministers, all these different types of things. What they're saying is that these things are ancillary. They are immaterial. They mean nothing to God. What I challenge you is to go to the Bible and see if that holds. And what I think you will discover, and it doesn't even take long, you will discover that that theory does not hold. It does not hold, not even in a cursory study of the Bible. God cares emphatically how he is worshipped. He'll tell you exactly how to do it. And if you go to Leviticus 10 or 1 Samuel 15, you will find, and the Bible is replete, especially in the Old Testament. Even though we don't live our life by the Old Testament is an example, right, of God's personality. And so we learn very, very rapidly that God cares immensely about how he is worshipped. So my question to my viewers, or whoever views this video, is that the congregation that you say you belong to, are you worshiping the Father in spirit and in truth? Meaning that you're worshiping him by your spirit or with your spirit, and you're worshiping him in truth, meaning that you're worshiping according to what the Bible tells us to do. And if it is, what are those 5 acts of worship? Well, I'm giving it away, I guess, a little bit of what we believe in the Church of Christ. We believe the 5 acts of worship are preaching, praying, singing, giving, and communion. And we believe that if you do not do these things during your worship service, your worship is not acceptable unto him. If you look at, I think it's Hebrews chapter 12, the Bible says, now we're receiving a kingdom. And we believe that the kingdom is the church in the Church of Christ. Now we're receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved. Let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear. For our God is a consuming fire. In other words, the Hebrew writer says that our worship has to be acceptable to God. I'm interested to hear your comments and your thoughts on my position, or the Church of Christ's position, relative to what's in a name. What do you call yourself? You call yourself a Lutheran or Catholic, and does God care? And if you, whatever side you take, try to support your position biblically, because I would be interested in knowing. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good day.